Hello and welcome to UFL Tonight. Bro, just let me finish the intro. Chill. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm your host, James Baker.
We the best music!
Starting off with our top news, the UFL Kickoff Concert Series has brought some superstars to home openers across the league. We have rap legends Gucci Mane in Birmingham, Wale in DC, Nelly in St. Louis, pop rock star Gavin McGraw in Columbus, country artist Russell Dickerson in Louisville, and Ty Myers in Dallas. We still don't know the artist in Houston, and I assume they'll announce it as I'm editing this, so I'll just put a picture up if they have it right now, or else it'll be some random cat footage. Who knows? But tell them to bring out the lobster, because we have the biggest concert in UFL history with the one and only DJ Khaled performing at the Orlando Storm home opener. And to show our respect to DJ Khaled, we have a major key alert. The key to a successful spring football league is to build a brand that's engaging and supportive of the local community, and we're getting just that with the UFL. Every team in the league is now set to have a mascot, with DC, Orlando, Louisville, and Columbus announcing fan voting for the final 3 names, and mascots are set to be unveiled at fan events over the next few days. Louisville had their fan event actually yesterday between 4 and 8 p.m. at 4th Street Live. The Stallions have an event right now, actually probably just finished up, at Brock's Gap Brewery. The Aviators have an event tomorrow between 11 and 3 at Dick's House of Sport. And then DC has their event also tomorrow between 1 and 5 p.m. at the Wharf. On top of these fan events, we've been getting some major sponsors. Orlando announced they've partnered with Foxtail Coffee Co., Miracle Toyota, and Orlando Health. Houston announced Little Woodrow's as a community partner. And Louisville is doing some super cool stuff as they've announced Copper and Kings as their tailgating partner. And they're kicking off that partnership with a limited edition Louisville Kings whiskey signed by Coach Redmond. Make sure to check it out because the price of the bottle also includes a unique experience you're not going to want to miss. Bottles get released, I believe, on Tuesday. And you may have noticed something behind me. Junkless granola bars have been announced as the official granola bar of the United Football League. Now, I've never had these in my life, and I thought the only way to do it right was to do a proper taste test. So I also called up my buddy James Larson here at Pro Football Newsroom, who's also never had it, and we gave it a proper taste test. So make sure to take a look. All right, look who I found. I found senior insider for Pro Football Newsroom, James Larson. Have you tried Junkless granola bars?
I have not, and I heard that's why I moved down to Texas, was to try some Junkless protein bars with James Baker.
They're granola bars.
This is the James X
bars.
James collab you didn't know you needed.
Exactly. Another fist bump.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Once again, better than Rapoli and Pete Schrager. I mean, come on.
Junkless bars, the official granola bar of the UFL. Okay? They have like 6, 7 different flavors. We just got 2 right here to try. You want to do birthday cake, or do you want to do chocolate chip first?
I mean, we definitely got to do both, but I'm a big chocolate chip guy.
All right,
so
classic.
We gotta
go
get
into chocolate chip. So I have here just, standard Cliff Bar, your chocolate chip, literally chocolate chip. Yeah, pretty solid. This 16 grams of added sugars. How much total sugar is in this? Total 6.
No way. Hey,
Cheers. Yeah, let's go. Gotta rip it.
I would have been really embarrassed if I couldn't rip that every once in a while. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I like the base. It's kind of got a little bit of a Rice Krispie feel to it.
I like how it's soft enough to where like the granola isn't like cutting your tongue. Sometimes with like the Nature Valley ones and all that, like your mouth just feels dry after. But
and it's not crumbly,
Yeah.
Sometimes granola bars just makes a mess.
Yeah, we're able to eat this and not have it going everywhere.
Is it time we get to the birthday cake?
True. First, this one, 0-10. What are you rating?
I would give it a solid. I mean, I'm a big health guy, so I love the healthy tasting things. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. I think it's pretty good.
There are more flavors.
That's true.
Keep that in mind.
That's true.
With more flavors.
Do we need to try the Cliff Bar in the middle and compare? Because Cliff's not going to compare to it.
I mean, we tried Cliff Bars before. You know what Cliff Bar tastes like.
Do I? I mean, no, it's so cool.
Someone's just hungry and wants a damn Cliff Bar. All right, bro.
No, I'm kidding.
We're over to go to Cliff Bar. All right. We'll compare.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm passing that off.
It's not Junkless though. It's just not.
I don't like that. It's too soft, too chewy. Like, my hand feels sticky afterwards. My hand didn't feel sticky after the Junkless.
Yeah, that's my complaint too.
Cliff Bar, what would you rate it 1 out of 10? Now that we've rated the Junkless chocolate chip.
6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say I'm going with the Cliff Bar at a 5 out of 10. The Junkless is like a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah.
Amen.
All right, but second flavor. Now we don't have a backup birthday cake bar to judge us with, but
That's
we
true.
already have our baseline. The chocolate chip is the OG.
Now, what's really important
I'm
is to clean the palate.
James Larson's a fraud over here. He brought his
Yeah,
own water bottle.
dang it.
We support body armor here.
You must feel so refreshed after that sip.
You want to know what's actually funny? Is I got this after I worked out yesterday, and I was really thirsty, and I downed the whole bottle, and it was like, I still want to use it for the video. So, haven't had a chance to go grab a second one yet, so this is just fridge water.
Well, they don't need to know that. James, look at this. I've got 2 Junkless birthday cake granola bars. Chewy drizzled, by the way.
Chewy drizzled granola bars.
Come on,
Real
guys.
simple ingredients, less sugar, more taste. And the bold claim, no fake stuff. Let me look at the ingredients.
Oh, we even got little sprinkles on here. Look at that.
Dude, actually, not gonna lie, these ingredients are pretty solid. Oh, you already opened yours up.
I did.
I was too busy
We're
reading.
still gonna
What a
touch
nerd.
tip here.
We both have socks on.
The problem for me, I'm not a big birthday cake guy.
Me too.
Never
Me too.
have been. That said, if I were to be a birthday cake guy, I'll get myself some Junkless birthday cake granola bars because these are damn good. Bro, we got multicolored sprinkles.
Yeah, you didn't see those?
Well, I thought pink ones. I mean, you just look at the sprinkles on here, the attention to detail. Someone who's attentive to detail is Mike Rapoli. I mean, everything he's done when it comes to Noble, when it comes to Junkless, when it comes to body armor, and of course the UFL. What more could you ask for?
Pretty damn good. So final rating, 1 through 10. You know the drill. Birthday cake.
I'd give it a 7 or 10 for me, just because I'm not as high on birthday cake. But actually, if you were someone who loves that, I feel like it'd be a 9. I mean, that's indistinguishable from like a actual like just birthday cake granola bar that's out there,
Yeah. It was a little bit too sweet for me. I'm gonna drop that down to a 6 personally.
Wow.
And that's just
we got first 7. I mean,
we got 6, 7 over here on the birthday cake, but overall, pretty solid. Yeah.
Junkless is UFL Tonight approved.
Yes.
And PF Newsroom approved.
And the official granola bar of the United Football League. So make sure you lock in. If you're going to go get a granola bar at the store this weekend, get a Junkless granola bar. You'll be supporting the UFL.
Got me fired up.
Let's go.
Thursday night.
Granola! Quick announcement, if you didn't see, Houston fans, you'll have to wait a bit later for your home opener, but good news as it's been pushed back to 6 p.m. Eastern on Easter Sunday, so it should allow you some time to celebrate with family and then make it to the game. The coolest part about this though is how they pulled it off. NFL Network is officially now a partner with the UFL. They're broadcasting 2 games. First one's going to be that Houston opener that's been pushed back and taken over from ESPN2. And then later in the year, there's that Thursday night game that's been flexed from ESPN+. In some other TV news, Birmingham Stallions offensive coordinator Tyler Siskey has said that Netflix is filming a show about the UFL that will air after the season. Now, we haven't confirmed this, but Mike Rapoli does have ties with Netflix as he appears on the horse racing show Race for the Crown. Now I hear you, you know where these games are going to be played, but you want to know what players are actually playing in the game. Now, we'll be talking about a lot of the transactions later, but first off, we have to talk about the St. Louis Battlehawks quarterback situation. The team released quarterback Ben Wooldridge and brought back Michael Pratt, who they initially drafted, but he opted out in pursuit of an NFL futures deal that didn't pan out. The QB battle is now between rookie Harrison Frost and veteran Brandon Silvers. Now, this is just my opinion, but given Brandon Silvers' long history with offensive coordinator AJ Smith, I would bet big money that Brandon Silvers takes the first snaps with the Battlehawks in 2026. Make sure to stay tuned after the break for our weekly hot topic. We'll also have our community content, transactions, and more here on UFL Tonight. What's up, guys? I'm here at the Dallas Bulls home opener just because I love football so much. But if you want another home opener, next week, March 28th, 3 p.m. at Toyota Stadium, the Dallas Renegades, theufl.com/tickets. Tickets are 33% off. You can get in the door for under $15. Make sure you're there.
Who said I can't wear my Converse with my dress? Well, baby, that's just me.
Welcome back to Hot Topic on UFL Tonight, where you give us your hot takes and we react. Starting up, we have a couple tweets here. First off, there will be an undefeated team this season, and we also have Louisville won't win a game this year. Now, I'm not expecting to see any 0-10 teams this year, and I'm also not expecting to see any 10-0 teams. This is mainly due to the new centralized scouting model, so all these teams' head coaches are pulling from the same group of players that are approved by the league. You no longer have 8 GMs and one GM maybe working harder than another GM and getting guys in. You have a list of guys that have already been vetted out by the league and supplied to these coaches. The only possible team that I would like to say right now I could see going 10-0 has to be the DC Defenders, just due to the fact that they're the only team to retain most of their coaching staff, retain most of their players, and just have continuity, which is something you rarely see in spring football, something that Birmingham had for a few years, which is where they saw success with Skip Holtz, and who knows, maybe Shannon Harris could build the second dynasty. Up next, we have another couple of tweets. This one's around the number of teams the UFL can hold. First off, we have somebody saying the UFL should stop at 12 teams and they secure more funding. And then we also have the UFL will never have 32 teams. Pretty much, what should expansion look like for the league? Which is a very valid question. I know that Mike Rapoli put out that quote that, he wants to get 32 teams out there. He wants to, have Noble pass Nike. He has these high expectations for everybody and anybody that's associated with his product, which, you love that. You love to see that from an owner saying that we want to grow to this level that everybody is saying is absurd and insane. It's shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars. I think the sweet spot for the UFL is going to be 16 teams, and I personally would do it in kind of 2 stages. I think that 2028, 2029 season that they're currently eyeing to add a couple teams, I would jump from 8 to 12, and then a few years later down the line, stabilize a little bit, and then jump from 12 to 16. But personally, we have to admit spring football has a lower market cap than fall football, the NFL, NCAA. I think we have to recognize that we're not going to be able to crank out 50 teams and just place them all around the country and everything's going to be perfect. But I think 16 is a reasonable number to go into some of these underserved markets and provide great professional football in the spring. That's all the time we have for Hot Topic this week, but now it is time for us to feature some of the best content in the UFL community with our weekly community spotlight. First off, we have Matty Fresh's amazing promo for Spring Ball Boulevard, and I'm just going to let it play.
Spring Ball Boulevard Season 4 premieres March 26th.
I already love the first segment idea, Chat TPG with the one and only People's Gambler. Those guys are funny as hell, and I recommend. Next up, we have Chris Tisdale posting Luis Perez's media day photo, saying that his face looks like it's him after seeing me at his 5th book signing this month. Listen, guys, I just have the one book. Granted, he kind of clocked me a little. I've been to several Luis Perez book signings, but only gotten the book signed one time. Only have the one book. I should probably get a hardback. I only have the paperback. I only have the paperback because I wanted to get it as soon as possible, and they had it, ready to purchase before. I have a problem. And finally, we have PFN's Max Holbrook announcing he's launching a show covering the Orlando Storm that will be starting tomorrow. We'll definitely need to have all these guys on the show at some point, but that's it for our community content as we take a look ahead at our Week 1 odds here at Baker's Best Bets. Looking at week 1, and we haven't seen too much movement since we talked last week. We're still sticking with DC minus 1.5 as our top bet. But the score has opened up some unique UFL bets. One of them being you can bet the number of wins each UFL team is going to have. Starting up, we have Houston and Louisville, who open up at a line of 3.5 games. Orlando and St. Louis are at 4.5 games. Columbus and Dallas at 5.5. And then the front runners are DC and Birmingham at 6.5 games. Personally, I'm big on the Orlando Storm, and given Anthony Beck's recent regular season success, I see no reason why they shouldn't win more than 4.5 games. So that is going to be my bet. The Orlando Storm win over 4.5 games. I'm expecting these lines to shift a little bit though as we get news of some UFL transactions. In case you weren't aware, this past week was when UFL training camp rosters get cut down all the way to their active roster. And what better way to talk about transactions than bringing in Pro Football Newsroom senior insider to discuss some of the week's biggest cuts.
Welcome everybody into Around the UFL. Wait a minute. I'm in studio of UFL tonight. It's not Around the UFL today. Big thanks and shout out to James Baker for having me here. But we've got some transactions to talk about. Rosters cutting down to 50 as we head into the regular season. And Birmingham, we're going to open up with them. A few interesting cuts here for the Stallions. Notably, Marvin Wilson was let go. He was a standout defensive tackle for them for a couple of years. Strong rotational piece. Thought he was going to make this roster. Offensively, look at guys like Nate Noel, Marcus Sims, Cam Eccles-Looper. Some spring football names that we're familiar with at wide receiver. Nate Noel, he's a running back I would have loved to see play for Birmingham this year. But with the amount of talent they've got there, Anthony McFarland, Tyrion Davis-Price, and then, of course, Snoop Connor himself, which is an uphill battle for him here in camp, and hopefully he ends up on another roster. Next up, the Columbus Aviators, a brand new franchise to the UFL with Ted Ginn Jr. at the helm, the former Ohio State Buckeye. Couple more cuts here. They had to cut down 14 players. I'm looking at this list right now. The guy that really sticks out to me offensively, offensive tackle Juwan Bushell-Beatty. He was a full-time starter for the St. Louis Battlehawks the last 3 seasons, won all XFL honors, and also made a couple NFL appearances. Kind of a shocker to see him not make this roster. And then defensively, a defensive back like Sean Stevens. He's a little bit undersized in the slot, but he was having a good camp, and he's a versatile player who can also make plays on special teams. Marcus Barnes was one of the high-profile guys to join this roster, but in camp, he just was not playing up to the level that we thought that he would. So it's not exactly surprising to see him on this cut list. What is sad, Smoke Monday is no longer on the roster. Probably all UFL nameless there, but unfortunately, he was also let go. Next up, the Dallas Renegades. Now, I'm not going to glaze them like James Baker might, but they had a few cuts here that I believe are head scratchers. The offensive line unit, Jake Burton, Abdul Beecham, Chim Okorafor, all starters last season in the UFL were all let go. It goes to show that Rick Neuheisel and his staff is confident in what they have here in their new additions. Defensively, it's pretty intriguing to see Brandon Sebastian let go. He was a starter for the St. Louis Battlehawks for 3 seasons, and now, because he was released, the Orlando Storm came. Anthony Beck swooped right in and picked him up off a waiver, so not a shocker there. The Storm got better, and the Renegades' defensive room might have gotten a little bit worse. The defending champs, the DC Defenders, also need to cut their roster down to 50 players, and there's a few new faces on this team, and a couple of them are already gone. Notably, safety Leon O'Neal, who earned all UFL honors last year with the Houston Roughnecks. One of the hardest hitting safeties in the league has been released. We are told that he's dealing with an injury, so that might mean he'll return in the future, but right now, he's no longer with the Defenders. Offensively, Montrell Washington was a fun gadget guy who joined this roster. He's someone who can make an impact on special teams and also offensively, but he's no longer with the team either. Javon Antonio is a name that some guys will recognize there in DC. He spent the 2025 season winning a championship with this organization, but he's no longer with DC. The one final cut defensively that I'll highlight is Keandre Thomas. He spent the last couple seasons in the UFL with Houston and DC. Last year, he was a key piece to their championship success. So it's kind of interesting to see that he was beat out by a few of these new additions in that cornerback room, including Gabe Taylor, a Washington legend. The Houston Gamblers, they're going all in with Kevin Sumlin back at the helm, and some interesting roster movement here. Notably, Julian Hicks, a wide receiver, University of Albany, Great Danes, former Packers wide receivers let go. He was having a good camp based on the reports that we got out of there and some of what I saw myself. So kind of interesting to see that he did not make this roster, but they do have a lot of talent there at the wide receiver position. Defensively, Houston kind of cleaned house with some of their depth pieces. A guy like Lonnie Phelps, who we projected would make this roster, is no longer there. And what's really surprising is that Keenan Isaac was let go. He was phenomenal for the Roughnecks a year ago and actually spent this past preseason with the Browns. Everyone wants to know what the hype is about the Louisville Kings, and Chris Redman had to do something for the first time ever, and that's cut some players down. It's pretty fascinating that James Robinson, the rookie record setter with the Jacksonville Jaguars, was let go, but it speaks volumes to the backfield they already have with Ian Wheeler, Benny Snell, and of course, Jaden Sheridan, the moment standout. A confusing move out of the Kings camp is Alec Lindstrom was let go. He was projected to be their starting center. He started at that position the last couple of years with the Memphis Showboats and has translated those into NFL opportunities with the Patriots and the Rams. Defensively, the Kings have had moving pieces all camp long, and it's kind of come to a head here where they had to let some talent go, and it's just one of those situations where these guys will probably get picked up by other teams. Someone that I project will get some interest is cornerback Rashad Williams, who had a couple of interceptions, including a pick six for the Houston Roughnecks a year ago. Anthony Becht and the Orlando Storm surged during the draft when they picked up so much talent across the board, and they brought in some valuable free agents throughout camp. Fortunately, that means they just had an overloaded roster when it comes to talent, and they had to let some good pieces go. This includes wide receiver Jordan Bly, who runs a 4.36 40-yard dash. I would expect him, even though he's a little bit undersized, to land on another roster. Also, D. Anderson, a wide receiver that many of us are familiar with in the spring football space, was let go. Defensively, Orlando brought a lot of tackles on the interior to their defensive line. We saw 3 of them let go, notably Jacob Sykes, who was with the Brahmas the last couple of years. He was protected by Anthony Becht and this Storm staff when they inherited the Brahmas roster, but now he is let go and he's back on the street. Also, Delonte Scott, the former Brahma, who was with the Stallions last year, he flashed in camp even though he was a late addition, and unfortunately for Delonte, he's now back out on the market. The biggest surprise for me defensively in these cuts is Christian Matthew, a cornerback who was an offseason addition to this group. He's someone that when I got to go to practice, he was making plays on special teams. Defensively, he was active, and he's someone that I would expect will either A, get brought back at some point during the season, or B, get selected by another UFL team. Last but not least, we have the St. Louis Battlehawks, who had to cut down to 50 players today as well. A couple of the releases on their end that might be a little bit surprising. You look at tight end Shane Calhoun. He joined a little bit late in camp, but he's someone that I thought would do well considering his career at East Carolina and, of course, Texas A&M. It's fascinating to me that Nate Brooks did not make this roster. That's a former all-UFL defensive back with the Michigan Panthers. He was with the Cincinnati Bengals for a year following that campaign. Came to St. Louis as a high-profile prospect that we expected would make this roster and potentially start, but now he's back on the street, but I would expect him not to be there for long. Former North Texas standout will find a new home soon. Generally speaking, when it comes to cuts in United Football League, there's always going to be some surprises. They can take 64 guys to camp, but they can only keep 50 on the roster. Considering we had a complete redraft of the league, we had 6 new head coaches brought in, and a plethora of just changes across the board, some of these guys just simply are not going to be able to find homes right now because of the abundant talent we have, which is a good thing. It means that the UFL is getting better and better every year. That's what we've seen, and I'm excited to see what the talent on the field looks like in 2026.
Thank you, James. Now it's time for our best time of the week. It is our UFL celebration station, and thank God we only have a few birthdays this week. Starting up on March 13th, we have defensive end Isaiah Mack for the Orlando Storm. Then we jump all the way to March 19th with the safety Trey Fluellen for the Dallas Renegades, and then March 20th, we have punter Mike Rivers for the Houston Gamblers. And as we head into the 2026 UFL season, we look forward to watching all these new expansion teams, but let's take a minute to reflect on the teams that we lost in a special Friday top 5 of your top 5 Brahmas, Panthers, and Showboats play. Starting up at number 5, we have Bryce Perkins in the Michigan Panthers and the USFL Conference Championship. Perkins, with all the time in the world, scrambles out, but it's going to take at least 4 to 5 guys to bring him down. He spins and then hurdles over his guy, and then finally slides down. 29-yard gain on 3rd and 14 to get the first down. Man, I'm going to miss watching this guy play in the UFL. Best of luck to Bryce Perkins yet again in Canada. What an athlete. Coming in at number 4, we have Dresser Wynn in overtime. Throws it to D. Anderson, who somehow holds on to the ball. The 0-4 Memphis Showboats got the win over Birmingham inside a protective stadium. Then coming in at number 3, we have the famous fake punt. Brad Wing looking for destroying, but instead he finds the center, Alex Millette, and the big boy scrambles all the way in for the touchdown, and he's getting up, and he is Gronk spiking that thing. The Alamo Dome was going absolutely insane. Coming in at number 2, we have the famous kick 6. The thicker kicker Harrison Mevis comes up short on the 63-yard attempt, and no one other than Isaiah Henney, who can do anything, going all the way down the field. The Memphis showed us this is the game that they would end up winning in overtime with that play in number 5. What a legendary day for them in their short-lived franchise. And then coming in at number 1, we got introduced to the man, the myth, the legend, Jake Bates right here. 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter, 64-yard field goal attempt, and he absolutely nails it to take the win over the St. Louis Battlehawks, and he is now kicking in that same stadium in the National Football League. What about one of the best sports stories of all time?
A star is born in the UFL.
Next up on UFL Tonight, we have our weekly survey says. Now make sure to follow along on X at UFL Tonight, as we'll post 3 weekly polls for you to participate in. As always, the first poll for next week gets posted right after this episode. Starting up with poll 1, how excited are you for the newly announced UFL kickoff concerts? And it looks like these concerts are doing exactly as we expected, as 71% of you are very excited to see these kickoff concerts. I want to see DJ Khaled in Orlando, Gucci Mane in Birmingham, Wale in DC. I wish I could clone myself 8 times to go to all these games, but I get to watch Ty Myers in Dallas. I cannot wait. Honestly, I'm not a big country music guy, a guy I've never really heard of, but I can't wait to see what kind of show he puts on, because I've heard it's a good one. Next up with poll 2, we have a lot of first-year head coaches this UFL season. Are we expecting a rookie head coach to follow in Shannon Harris's footsteps like last year, where he won Coach of the Year? And it looks like you guys are expecting a veteran head coach to take it this year with 64%. Now, that's a pretty even split, not gonna lie. So there's some faith in rookie head coaches like AJ McCarron, Ted Ginn, Ricky Prohl, but then clearly some people love the veteran spring football coaches that we have in the UFL like Anthony Beck, or maybe Shannon Harris just repeats and he's a 2-time coach of the year, building a dynasty there in DC. And then finally, of course, we had some mascot news this week. While the names are still being finalized and voted on, which one was your favorite mascot idea? Now we have the Aviators, who had a dog pilot, the Storm, which have a weather god, the Kings, which have a royal horse, and then the Defenders, which have a snake. And it looks like the Defenders won with 37% loving the snake idea. I really hope they tie in lemons and the beer snake somehow. I know they're going to with the beer snake, but it's just going to be such a unique idea, and I think gives nod to one of the most creative and fun traditions that the UFL has, and I think honestly that sports has. This beer snake is just awesome. It's fucking awesome. Second is the Aviators with 26% preferring the dog pilot. Now, we love dogs, we love pilots, everybody loves Snoopy, so no surprise to see him number 2 on this list. Can't wait to see what name they choose. Then in third place, we have the Kings with their royal horse. Now, if you follow me at all on Twitter, you know I'm not the biggest Stallions fan, and I'm not the biggest fan of Stanley. Stanley is my ops. But hopefully this royal horse is a little bit cooler, you know? It's like Stanley, but royalty. So automatically one of the best mascots in the league. I can't wait to see what they also name him. And then coming in at last place, surprisingly, is the Orlando Storm with the weather god. I feel like a weather god could be a super cool mascot. Maybe something similar to like Dave the Wave that we had with the New Orleans Breakers, but you know, more kind of jacked like Zeus. I think that's just going to be one of the most unique and off-the-wall mascots we've seen. And I can't wait because Mike Rapoli is going to be at every single Orlando Storm game. So I can't wait for his first picture with all these mascots because I know it's going to be fucking hilarious. Now, guys, we're just a week away from kickoff. Our next show will be an hour before the Louisville Kings take on the Birmingham Stallions in a packed out Lynn Family Stadium. So make sure you get your tickets now for your home openers. All of them are 33% off, and make sure you're following along on league socials because they're making new announcements every single day. We have new concerts, new fan events, new sponsors, something to look forward to seemingly every day in every market. So make sure you follow along there for the latest updates, and we'll see you an hour before UFL kickoff next time here on UFL Tonight.